Hi, welcome to Rajal Naik. In today's video, I am going to discuss about the cloud migration. As we all know, nowadays migration towards the cloud environment, followed by the other environments and all everything is becoming essential for most of the applications to reach the better business agility and all everything in coming days. In regard to that, most of the applications nowadays are transforming towards the cloud migration part from the existing legacy systems and all that. So most of the people, whoever are working, especially on the technical side, must have a understanding over how and what exactly cloud migration is and what elements to be taken care of and what are the challenges, benefits, etc. By keeping view into an account, I am making a video on cloud migration so that this is something useful for the people who are new to the cloud environment or new to the cloud migration environment and all, who wants to learn more about cloud migration, irrespective of the kind of roles people were, either they may be from the business analyst side, because most of the people who are working as a business analyst will be playing a vital and important role in migration projects, wherein migration from legacy applications to the new applications, all that. At the same time, of course, even technical people were also involving, so that for any people who are working in the field of IT, especially in application development, irrespective of the domain as well as the technology they were working on, this cloud migration, knowledge about the cloud migration is also one of the key and important element which they have to understand with. Now, if you want to understand about the cloud migration from a higher level on understanding, as far as introduction itself is concerned, it's majorly a process of moving application and as well as the data from one particular location to the other location, to the on-premise servers and all everything, using different cloud services. Either it can be a private cloud or public cloud and all that. Right. So public cloud, where in general public cloud services and all everything will be moved to that servers. And some organizations may require some specific private cloud services, like where they want a clear cloud infrastructure exclusive for their business needs also. So whoever provide cloud services, like either it can be an example, a cloud service providers like Azure or AWS, Amazon Web Services, all that, right? So these cloud service providers usually provide different services according to the requirements of the customer. Either they want some private cloud services that can be provided even, or else if they want to move towards the public cloud even, so they will be providing that as well. So cloud migration, where it is majorly a process of moving an application from one extent to another extent, is what the understanding as far as data, etc. itself is concerned. But when we see the cloud migration types, which normally will be classified on a high level note into two different things. The first thing is about the kind of type of resources as well as the workload that's being migrated. This is one type of cloud migration normally we do across applications. And second, cloud migration relating to the location part, whatever the locations and all everything. So this is also one of the technical factor, I can say, right? So there are two technical factors or the type of cloud migrations. One is migration of work resources, means workload as well as data, etc. All that. Second migration type of migration, cloud migration, is the location that's being migrated to. So these are the two different types of cloud migrations which normally we have. Now, whenever we are trying to understand about the scenarios of migration, because when we are working in the role of a business analysis side or in the technical environment, we must have a clear understanding about how these migration scenarios will be taken place. When we are trying to understand the migration scenarios, these scenarios will be classified into four different areas. One is data center migration. Second, hybrid cloud migration. The third one is called cloud to cloud migration, followed by application database and mainframes migration. Because the fourth one, especially for BAs or some other people, will be moved on. So the first one, when we talk about data center migration, which majorly it's a process of moving data from on-premise servers and as well as mainframes to the cloud service providers, which majorly typically housed with very large and highly secure and professionally maintained buildings. Apart from that, whatever the high capacity networks that are most common way to move the data center resources, especially to the cloud environment, require some kind of powerful network where these resources can be migrated by moving into the high capacity disk or data boxes, all these things. So where especially required when we are working on the data center migration part. It's majorly on a simple note. If you see data center migration is where the process which is involved in moving the data from on-premise services as well as mainframes to the cloud provider servers, either it can be a private cloud or public cloud. Now, when we are trying to understand about hybrid cloud services, where they wants to manage the resources in on-premise data centers, but they want to move some portion of information to the cloud, wherein by creating different hybrid clouds and all. Because the major advantage and the benefits of hybrid cloud includes maximizing the value of existing on-premise data center equipments. At the same time, it will also allow organizations in certain industries to meet industry and government compliance requirements, all that. Followed by this, hybrid clouds will also be useful for cloud-to-cloud backups, where on-premise data is being backed on public cloud as a disaster recovery solution in the event if there is any on-premise data centers become inoperable in the case of any natural disaster or anything so that can be managed. So this is one more advantage we can see in hybrid cloud migration. Now, when we talk about cloud to cloud migration, where organization use multiple clouds, often due to mergers and as well as the kind of mergers and as well as the migrations, acquisitions. Sometimes they want to move sources to between private cloud to the public cloud using different cloud migration processes and all. But these kind of migrations are useful when organization wants to take an advantage of different cloud platforms, followed by the kind of product services, pricings, etc., while managing the resources across multiple clouds. Even it is possible for us to conveniently manage to all the single place using central management tool, all that. The last but not least, when we're talking about application database or mainframe migration, where whatever the migration workloads on operating systems or the environments like SQL Server, SAP, Linux, or servers and all that. So where mainframe migrations mostly commonly used in different environments, where it majorly benefits us to manage the kind of workloads which include the lower cost, faster and more reliable performances. Followed by this, accessing to the cloud-based developer tools like APIs, more robust security and ability to decrease capacities without having any need of purchasing or installing or maintaining new equipment. So because the infrastructure is managing the infrastructure is one of the key and important element in managing, right? So wherein we have to invest more in terms of the manpower and financial resources. So buying equipment, maintaining it is becoming especially a challenging task for the mid-level and low-level organizations. So that's the reason why this is where something majorly useful to them, right? So do that so that they can sustain themselves and enhance their business performances and all everything to the next level. So these are the different migration scenarios which normally we have. Now, when we are talking about service models and all, usually cloud services, as most of the people who are in the cloud environment will be knowing this. Usually the service models are divided into three different parts. The first one is called SaaS, SaaS, which is called software as a service. Second, we call it as PWS, which is called platform as a service. Followed by IWS, which is called infrastructure as a service. So when we talk about software as a service, which majorly includes infrastructure as well as a platform as a service, includes the kind of added conveniences of app hosting, which allow users to connect to and use to cloud-based apps over the internet, all that. But whereas when it comes to the platform as a service, which include the benefits of even infrastructure as a service, includes managing developer tools, databases, business analytics, operating systems, all that, which are majorly and as well as ideally used to reduce the development cost and accelerating development time, all that. Now, when we talk about IWS, which is called infrastructure as a service, which allows you to quickly scale up and down as demand changes. It also helps to avoid the expenses and as less complexity of buying, managing own physical servers, which are expensive always, right? So we have to we can reduce the managing your own physical servers and other data center infrastructure. So wherein that can be taken care of by the cloud service providers. So on a simple note, these are all consists of these things where we need to host the application apps or development tools like DBM or business analytics operating systems. At the same time, server storages, network firewall securities, data center physical plant building. All these things are comes under the service model categories, all that. Now, whenever we are talking about the stages of cloud migration, the first one is called defined strategy. Means if you want to do any cloud migration at all, these are the stages. So defined strategy majorly defines the business justification for migration and expected outcomes. When we are talking about planning, which aligns the cloud migration plan to the desired business outcome, whatever an existing organization is needed. At the same time, ready, which prepare on-premise and cloud environments for the migration part. Next, when we are talking about migrate, which moves the workloads to the cloud environment. Followed by this, whenever you're talking about governance is also one of the stage where it implements security and as well as cost of governance best practices for the cloud environment as well as migrate workloads. Apart from that, the last stage of it, which is called manage, which uses proven methodologies for ongoing management and as well as cloud services and all that. So these are the different stages of cloud migration we need to do. First of all, need to have a over understanding over defining the strategy that is required. So because unless until if you don't have a proper strategy for what purpose cloud migration are we planning to do and all, there will be no value for that. So defining the strategy is important, plan is required even, readiness, ready, migrate, govern, manage. So these are the different stages of cloud migration, which normally we do. Now, people who are moving towards cloud migration should also know about the benefits as well as the challenges. The first thing we are discussing about the benefits, which is optimizing the cost, like optimizing the cost of workload for the cost which are significant. This is also majorly used in saving the equipment maintenance and different cost, all that. At the same time, flexibility and scalability, this is also one of the benefit, where it can be flexible and scalable at any kind of location which can be integrated and managed. At the same time, benefits wherein it can be enhancing the security, because data security is one of the key and major element we have to be focused. So that is possible. Next, compliance, because highly regulated industries like finance or healthcare, at the same time, insurance, all these things require some kind of platforms and all. They require some specialized offerings to meet their compliance requirements more easily, because organization to organization, whatever the compliance standards and all, everything may vary, depends on the kind of industry they are belongs to. So they have to follow the compliance standards, rules and regulations. So this is also one of the benefit whenever we are moving into cloud migration. This is also one of the key element which can be seen for. Next, we need to see about backup, recovery and failover that can be minimized, so that cloud environment where data will be managed in the cloud environment, so that they don't see any problem in loss of data and all won't be there. So that can be backed up in regular intervals, wherein recovery will also be much easier. All these are possible. These are the benefits I can say. At the same time, even managing the cloud applications in as well as monitoring is also using different tools and all that. So this is also even easier. So these are the benefits which we can see when we are working on the cloud migration part. Now, when we are talking about the challenges, of course, any migration or process we follow, there are some challenges which usually we come across. Of course, this is a continuous, these are all the continuous observations where we have to make different changes, right? So challenges are not permanent all the time, and challenges are not standard all the time, right? So different situation to situation. These challenges will vary because it's a continuous effort, which in when we are migrating applications, it's a continuous process of identifying the challenges and overcoming those, right? What strategy we want to reduce the risk and all. This is a continuous process. But what are the points I am mentioning you in reference to the challenges are common, basic points, right? So because there can be any other, depends on the situation to situation, it will vary. But major challenges were planning, because if there is no proper planning before we are going for cloud migration, then there will be I don't say it's a failure. It becoming difficult for people to migrate the data or applications and all. So this is one kind of thing. Second, cost. We have to consider the benefit first. Like for what purpose this cloud migrations are we planning to do? Is it for the short-term benefit or long-term investments and all? So that also we have to be taken care of. Security compliance, because security compliance is standards, policies, and procedures varies from industry to industry, organization to organization. This is also one of the key challenge, so that we have to be focused more on that. At the same time, business downtime, which comes sometimes, because as in when we are in the enterprise, we are in different business environments, domains. Of course, there are some business downtimes which come sometimes, so that careful planning and as well as minimizing the downsizing, downtiming and all everything during the move should also be taken into an account, so that it should not be affected on the regular business activities, all that. At the same time, organization and adoption and training, where IT professionals majorly, especially developers, require some kind of current skills and as well as applying to the cloud, so that some kind of skill training and all everything were required. So majorly my focus is also on that, because most of the people who are working on cloud environment are facing challenges in reference to the kind of skill set whatever is required and all. This is where most of the people are lacking on. So as far as my training and coaching, irrespective of the kind of role, especially into the role of a business analyst or any other roles, they require some kind of skills and trainings and all everything are required. So most of the people were failed in doing that, right? So that is also one of the key element we have to be focused like. So that even, of course, as far as training and coaching of myself is concerned, I am focusing. That's what I'm trying to say. Next is about migration partner and vendor location, where partners are, as anyway, we know, invaluable for the organizations. So understanding about the capacity to plan and implement the migration by selecting the right migration partner as well as vendor selection is one of the key and successful point when we are going for cloud migration, all that. So these are the different challenges which normally we face while we are migrating from regular to the cloud migration, all that. So this is all about this video about cloud migration. If you have any questions, if you have any queries in regard to that, followed by any training and coaching needs, please reach out to the contact details which will be provided in below to this video. Thank you.